Hey guys.
Hey, welcome to Midway Campground. We are camping here at Big Cypress National Preserve for 4 nights. This is an electric only campground and one of the only campgrounds that actually has electric here, either in Everglades or Big Cypress. So we're going to take you for a real quick tour around the campground, and then we're going to bring you our campground review. So the Midway Campground is very conveniently located right off of US 41. When you first come into the campground, the first thing that you see, the first 4 sites are VIP sites for the camp hosts. Yep, so all 4 of these sites are all full hookups, but they're just for the camp hosts. There's one dumpster located in between where the camp hosts are and the rest of the campground. So they don't want you walking your dog close to the pond, which is in the middle because of wildlife. There's obviously gators in this area. The first site we're going to come to is Site 1. Next we have Site 2. This is Site 3, big 5th wheel on that one. Most people that with bigger rigs are having to pull in sideways. This is Site 4. This is Site 5. Got a Class A here. This is Site 6. Site 7. Site 8. Site 9. And this is our site. This is Site 10. We fit in here fine. We do have to park sideways. Site 11 is our neighbors with their Brinkley 5th wheel. Site 12. And the best site in my opinion, which is Site 13. I did try to get the site, but that was a no-go. Then we're coming around the bottom part of the loop. This is the little lake pond in the middle. And that's why they don't want you to walk your dogs, because, you know, gators. Alright, now we are coming up to Site 14. Another really big 5th wheel. You can see this guy barely fits in here with even turned sideways. Like, it's a big triple axle 5th wheel. That is a better view of the pond. And they do have a couple picnic areas, like you come out of your RV and you could definitely come have a picnic lunch there. Site 15. This is Site 16. This side of the campground definitely has more trees. This is Site 17. Site 18. Site 19. Site 20. Site 21. Site 22. Site 23. Definitely shadier on this side than on our side. Site 24. Site 25. Love the cute little casitas. And the final one is Site 26. Now we're coming up to the camping loop, the tent loop, sorry. There are a ton of tent sites here, and there's a bunch of people. Oh, there's also a bear box because there are bear down here. So this is the camping area. Sorry, this is the tent area. And you can see there's a ton of people tent camping here this week. Really spacious, very nice. It's actually, this area's been busy the whole time we've been here. You want to stop here so we can show?
I'm gonna go through the loop.
Okay.
So that's one way.
Okay. All right, so these are the bathrooms. No showers, just toilets only. So just remember that you have no sewer, you have no water here. You got to come in with your own water, and you got to be self-sustained or just be funky for however many days you're here.
So here you have the non-potable water for wrenching out your sewer and your dump station. And this here would be your potable water. Now, I was concerned about having threaded hoses. Some of these dump stations have a wash hose only and not a threadable hose so you can flush tanks. Both these hoses do have threads on them so you can screw them into your tank flush. So let's get to those numbers. We're going to start out with ease of booking.
So for this area, we gave it a 7. You're going to book on recreation.gov like you do with any other government-run campground. I like recreation.gov because you have a map. Usually there's a picture or two where you can see what your site looks like. We always like to know what we're going into, what we're getting into when we go to a site. It was $30 a night. That's if you don't have the senior or the military or the disabled pass, whichever one of those. I know it's the senior for sure, and I think the military gets you half price. So that would make it, what, like $15 a night? But we paid $30 a night. For electric only, we felt like maybe that was a little steep. So that's why it only got a 7 for ease of booking and cost.
So next on the list is amenities. There's toilets only there. They didn't have any showers, which I felt is a little bit odd for a place that doesn't have sewer and water and was electric only. Usually they have public showers. But it did have restrooms. Picnic tables were nice and new. It did have a fire pit with a grate on it, so you could cook on that. And the pad was asphalt. So it was, all in all, the site was pretty good. But for the amenities, we're only going to give it a 5.
So the pad was asphalt, which made it made it nice. I will say the fire pit was beautiful. It was steel. It looked almost brand new. But the grate that you cook on was really high up. Kind of from the fire. So you would have had to build a significant fire in order to really do some cooking on there. We did, and it worked out okay, but it was, it provided a little bit of a challenge for you.
Yes, it did.
Okay, so next would be dog friendly. We gave it a 6. No dog park, no poop stations. You can only walk your dog, if you'll remember from when we did the ride around, you can only walk your dog like on the sides where the campers are. And that's for obvious reasons because there's a body of water in the middle. And you're in Florida, there's bound to be gators at some point. So you don't want your dog to be taken by a gator. So, but it is a nice little walk for dogs. And there were tons of dogs there. So dogs are extremely welcome there. So that's why we gave it a 6.
Next is Starlink, Wi-Fi, and cell phone service. We give it a 6. So we were pretty fortunate. I didn't have to put the Starlink up on the pedestal. So we actually have a flagpole that goes up on our ladder to get it up above. We had a pretty clear shot, so we were lucky. On the other side, as you guys saw in the video when we were driving around, that side's pretty wooded. You may have a little bit of an issue getting Starlink, but the side that we're on over here at lot 10, clear view of the north sky that we need for Starlink. So if you guys look right here, we're going to drop what our upload and download speeds are so you can see the results. So you also may want to note there is no camp Wi-Fi. And we have Verizon, and we have just about 0 cell service. So we went down in the Everglades yesterday, and the phones immediately went into SOS, and we had no service. And we barely have any here at the campsite.
The next area we're going to talk about is ease of getting into the site, and is it big rig friendly? Again, we gave this a 6. This is a one-way road around the campground, and it is for one vehicle only.
So let's talk a little bit about the ease of getting into the site, and is it big rig friendly? You guys need to take a quick look around here because it's pretty tight. Just about anybody that's got a rig over 20, 25 feet is going to have to park sideways in the driveway. And we had to pull forward and back up multiple times to get in. And if you check down these rows in a few places, like here, the grass is really worn out from people having to drive across it to get in and out. And we are lucky because the back of our rig is almost 10 foot past the tire, so we shove everything back as far as we can. If you have a rig that has a tag axle on it, you're going to be forced to push yourself a little bit farther forward in the parking spot, which is not going to give you much room to get in. So our rig is 37 feet, and I've pushed it as far back into the lot as I can to keep the jacks on the asphalt. And we might have 20, 22 feet in front of the rig to the driveway, if that. It's tight, just enough to get our Jeep in there. But access getting in here from the road was fine. Coming down the street that we're actually on, we had no issues whatsoever. The street is a little bit narrow, and on the other side behind me here, there's quite a bit of marks from people having to pull in and out of the grass over there to actually get in the site. But there is a tag axle down here a little bit further. He's in. There's a couple longer fifth wheels in here that they had big dualies they were pulling. They're in. Our next door neighbor has a longer rig with a dually. They got in. It's manageable, but it's a little bit of a challenge to get back in here. Next is site spacing. So we give it site spacing at 7.
So here's our site spacing. I'd call it pretty average for a national park and maybe even a state park. Definitely not as big as Ives Run. If you didn't see Ives Run video, definitely go check that out. But I mean, we have plenty of space. We have a picnic table and we have a fire pit, and there's plenty of space for us to put our chairs for Lily to go do what she needs to do. And really nice. Site 13 all the way at the end. That would be the primo site, and we did try to get that, but that was a no-go. General cleanliness, we gave it an 8. Sites are clean. The fire pits really could stand to be cleaned out a little bit more, but with the fact that the cooking grate is so far from the bottom of the fire pit, it's actually a little helpful that the ash has kind of built up, because it means you don't have to build such a big fire in order to cook. Bathrooms are clean. We didn't really use them. We just used the bathroom in our rig. But I mean, overall, I mean, it was a clean campground.
Mm-hmm. Next is park staff. So we gave it a 9. Park staff here was very friendly. Several of them had dogs as well, which they constantly were walking around. I think we probably saw park staff 5 or 6 times a day. And when we walked past the camp host, if they were out, they would stop and talk to you. We had Lily with us. They wanted to talk to Lily and see how Lily was doing. So that's why we gave it a 9.
Also, with the day we were pulling in, they have this really cool thing. So I think that the park staff either must have some sort of GPS, cellular, something or another. Maybe they have some Wi-Fi there. I'm not sure, because they walk around with, it's almost like an iPhone, and that's how they were checking people in, because they asked what site we were in, and they were checking us in as they were just kind of like walking their dog that day. The location and area attractions, we gave it a 9, because honestly, you're in the middle of the Everglades. You are not going to get anything any better, and you're kind of right smack dab in the middle of Naples and Miami, because you're kind of in the middle of the state. So it was, I mean, I thought it was a great area to be in. Lots of stuff to do in that area, lots of stuff to see. Or the alternative, you could just kind of sit back and do a whole lot of nothing.
Now, there was no grocery stores or like restaurants really close, but if you planned a little bit ahead, sometimes it's really nice just to get to a place like that where you don't hear any traffic from cars, you know.
Well, I'll take that back. We did hear traffic from cars. 41 was right there, and it was very, very loud. Yeah, like Mike said, it's going to get a little bit of a ding because you're really not close to like a Walmart, a grocery store. There was about, what was it, maybe about 20 minutes up the road, there was a gas station. And then you've got Everglades City that's probably about a half hour, 40 minutes away maybe. It's not hateful, it's not terrible. But like Mike said, just plan ahead.
So for utilities, we gave it a 6. It was electric only. We knew this going in, so we had planned ahead of time, which was okay. Not a big deal if we know we're going in there. If you go to their website, it says it's 30 amp only. So it's a little bit older pedestal box, but we were pleasantly surprised when we got here because there is 50 amp and 30. 30 amp looks a little burnt up, like same thing with the 15 amp. Don't know if that comes from people pulling it out and shoving it in without turning off the breakers, which we always do, but works just fine. We haven't had any electrical issues at all since we've been here. So if you guys take a look around this pedestal, what's missing? No sewer, no water. This is an electric only site. It is only one of the electric only sites around. Most of the other ones are primitive camping in this area.
Okay, so are you guys ready for the grand total for this campground? Grand total is 69. So not bad. I mean, we knew what we were getting into. We knew where the deficits were going to be. We knew exactly what to expect. Not a problem. So a couple questions that we have added to our campground review is, would we stay there again, and do we want to stay there again? Yes. So to answer the first question, would we stay there again?
Yes.
Absolutely, we would.
It was a nice area. There was a lot to see. It's kind of a one and done kind of thing. It was a really nice park, and yes, if we needed to, we would stay there again. But it was kind of a one and done thing. We saw all the alligators we needed to see for a good time. Wildlife was abundant down there for sure.
It was very cool.
Yep.
So that kind of answers our second question. Do we want to stay there again? Not necessarily. If we're in the area, definitely know we could fit in, know exactly, what campsite we would want to stay at, et cetera, what we're getting into. But it's not necessarily on our list of places we're anxious to get back to. So I hope this helped you guys out if you're ever planning on staying at Midway Campground near the Everglades. So make sure you stay tuned, because in a few weeks we're going to have another campground review of an Army Corps of Engineers campground we have been really excited and looking forward to staying at. So we will see you guys at the next stop. Bye.
I had a fire pit with a grate on it to cook, so
welcome. And sorry, there's a bird that was distracting me. I can't tell if that's a bird or if it's a look at the, I think it's a butterfly or a moth or something. Okay,
yes.
sorry.
But if you have a rig where you have a tow axle on about, so Starlink, the Wi-Fi cell phone service. This is a little bit older. We gave it a 6. It's electric only.
I would start over.
Yeah. We were
so we hope this guy.